Hiya, my name's Heid and I'm going to talk about how you can garden for free. So lots of people think you need a lot of expensive equipment for gardening, but that's not always true. So that's what this video is going to be about. So a lot of people think you need pots like this to put plants in. I mean, they're fine, they're great. Sometimes you might get some that someone's not using, but you don't really need a pot like this to start gardening. What you can use is an old tin. They're fine. You need to make holes in the bottom of the tin, so you can do that with a hammer and nails, for example, or something else. Just do it carefully. Or you could use a plastic pot. That's also fine, totally fine, just to make some holes in the bottom so the water can come through. Or a lot of things you can use. You can use loo rolls. So you're probably going to need to put that in something else. So if you have an old pot that's had mushrooms or berries in or something, you can put loo rolls in like that, and then plant your seeds in each one. So that's and often those kinds of pots have holes in already, so that's extra handy. So that's your pots. You're ready with your pots. And you can just use pretty much anything, any kind of old thing that's maybe had food in. You don't want to use anything that's had paint or chemicals or something in there. You want to use something that is safe for food. Yes, so once you've done your pots, then you're going to need your earth. So you can buy earth, but you can also make earth if you've got a bit of time and patience with your old food compost. So if you have a compost bin, instead of handing it into the council, you can just keep it and let it rot. It might be a bit smelly, so have a good lid on it. And you might want to mix that up with something like dead leaves or grass cuttings to make a good earth that you can grow plants in. Or you can team up with friends to get some compost, or maybe you know someone with a garden, but you need to watch out because in Edinburgh a lot of the tenement gardens, the earth in there might have heavy metals in, so make sure that it's safe for food. So that's your compost. Now a lot of people think that for gardening you need gloves. So if you have maybe sensitive skin or something, that might be true, but for most people your hands are totally fine. So your hands might get a bit earthy when you've been doing the gardening, but you can just wash them. If you feel like, you can put some moisturiser on or something, but your hands are totally fine for gardening. Most vegetables and things will not have thorns or anything like that. You'll be able to do that just with your hands. And then tools, again, if you just got a little pot that you're going to put some earth and then some seeds in, you can just do that with your hands. But if you have maybe a larger bucket or something that you're going to grow something bigger in, you might want something just like a bowl, something you probably already have at home. So I've just used this bowl to scoop earth with, because I can just get a bit more earth in it than just with my hands. So that's a handy tool. So seeds. You will need seeds to do gardening with. So you can of course buy them in the shop, but there are 3 other ways I want to talk about that you can get seeds that mean you don't need to buy them in the shop. So I've got here some seeds that I got from Edible Estates, so that's a great source of seeds, and other organisations as well might be able to get seeds from. And then here I've got some marigold and rocket seeds that I got from a friend. So she grew those things, and then when they in the autumn, and they started having their seeds and the seeds got dry, she just harvested those seeds, but it was way too much for her to use, so she gave some to me. So that's a great source of seeds if you have other people you know who might enjoy gardening. And then here I've got a coriander plant and you can see here there's a little flower coming out. So coriander seeds are actually great for using in cooking, but I'll hopefully also save some of the seeds to plant as well in the future. So as well as using the leaves, you can also use the seeds, but yeah, then plant them. So that's your seeds. So you've got your pot, your soil and your seeds, and then you will need to water your plants. So what I use is just a plastic bottle, any brand or anything, just anyone's had like a fizzy drink or some juice or anything that will come in a plastic bottle, and they're pretty solid. It's pretty great. So but if you just pour straight from the plastic bottle, it's quite a heavy load of water for the plants to take. That's why you have watering cans with little holes in. So what I've done is I've made some little holes in the lid of the bottle. So you can do this in a few different ways, but I'll just show you 2 ways you can do it. So here I've got another plastic lid. I've got some blue tack to just fix it onto, put it onto this pot here. And then I've got a needle. So be careful when you do this because the needle is sharp. Then I'm just using this little box to push the needle through the lid. There we go, to make a hole. So there we've got a hole in the lid. If you don't have a needle handy, you can use something like this, little tack pins, or you could use a nail. Again, just be careful when you're doing it. A small nail, just carefully hammer it into the lid and you'll be able to make a hole. And you won't need to buy a watering can. So that's pretty handy. Finally, so you've got your pot and you've got your seed in there and it's been watered and it's growing. And then another thing gardening people talk about is fertiliser. So how can you feed that plant to keep the soil rich for them to grow? So fertiliser you can buy it in the shops, but you can also make it. So here I've got some fertiliser that I've made. It looks kind of it looks kind of bad, but basically all it is some water and some nettles. So I've just put the nettles in there and I've left it with the water, covered with the water, and just left it to rot basically. And when it's rotted, it does smell kind of bad, so make sure you have a lid on, not the kind of lid that you've made holes in for watering. And but it's great because it just breaks down, it just makes a kind of green goo kind of liquid stuff, and the plants love it. So nettles are great for that, but there are also other plants like comfrey that people often use, and it's called green manure when you use a plant like that to fertilise another plant. Yeah, so you've got your seeds in your pot with your soil and you've watered it and you've given it a bit of fertiliser, and that's you. So happy gardening!